Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm going to do a really short presentation on handling conflict and confrontation in and out of the classroom and in and out of the workplace. So, first you need to understand that conflict is not necessarily always a bad thing, and that a lot of times it leads to really successful businesses and relationships. So, research even shows that managers spend about 20% of their time just handling conflict alone and confronting people. So this is being able to confront people is a really good trait to have as a manager because most likely you're going to be handling it a lot. So conflict involves two parties. Most likely one party doesn't even know there is an issue, and the other party is the one having the conflict or irritation with the other party. So you need to keep in mind that conflict is completely normal, so confronting people is something you should do rather than avoid them. And the first step is to identify what the problem is. Most likely it's going to be a difference in goals. So one person will have one set of goals, another person will have another set of goals where they really don't line up. And so really, instead of looking at yourself as, hey, I'm the good guy and this other party is the enemy, look at them as, okay, I have a set of goals that maybe they haven't heard, or they have a set of goals that I haven't heard. So in that sense, you're looking at them more as a person, just like yourself, rather than like this bad enemy that you want to avoid or get rid of or whatever. So you want to look at it more as like a meeting point and a person that you can talk to rather than just an enemy. So there are 5 major strategies to handling conflict, and that is avoidance, accommodation, forcing, compromise, and problem solving. You can probably guess what is the best choice is problem solving. So let's first talk about avoidance. So just like I said about how one party may not know that there is a conflict, avoidance is probably one of the worst ways to go about confrontation because the person probably doesn't even know there's something wrong. So then you're just avoiding them. You also make things awkward. You might avoid important meetings or something along those lines. So definitely don't avoid them. It probably won't make the problem go away. It won't solve itself. It just kind of prolongs the inevitable. Okay, so accommodating is similar to avoidance, and it stems from a fear of addressing and dealing with the issue. So accommodating is just appeasing the situation. Not solving the situation, not clearing up the conflict, just doing whatever it takes to avoid addressing the person or avoid addressing the conflict. So forcing is the opposite of avoidance and accommodating. Usually this is coming from a superior or the leader of a group. So this person will force whatever they want onto the other party. So there's really no room for argument, there's no room for problem solving. It's just, this is the way it's going to be, and this, what I say goes. So usually this behavior is really aggressive or even competitive. Clearly it doesn't fix the problem. So compromise. Compromise kind of sounds a little bit better than the first 3, but again, it's not really the best way to deal with conflict. Usually the compromise is between the leader, superior, and the person that might be working with them or under them. So it's kind of like the leader has all of the cards and the compromise is under their terms. So it's kind of like the person underneath them may feel like they've lost something, that they aren't really getting the conflict solved, that they're settling without really their terms. If the compromise is happening between 2 equal parties, both parties most likely feel like they've lost something, that this really isn't a problem that's been solved, that it really is for their favor. It's really just more of a compromise than really problem solving. Last is problem solving. This is the best choice. So basically two parties, or both parties, are equally satisfied. There's a few things that both parties must realize though. First is that cooperation is better than competition. So both parties must be willing to cooperate, which may be a little bit tricky. You must also leave some level of equivalence. So both parties aren't feeling like, oh, one's better than the other, but you're both just two people talking about the problem and trying to find a nice resolution. Last, you have to have some sort of trust between the parties. So you must trust the other person to either follow through with what they're going to say or do, or even just know, hey, we are on the same team with this. We want to solve the problem. We want to either better the company, better the group, get a good grade, whatever it may be. And so for that reason, I'm going to trust you to follow through, to work with me, to be cooperative, things like that. And you also have to kind of keep in mind, like, hey, is there a solution for this? Is there a mutually equivalent solution for both of you? So if there's not, then you kind of have to brainstorm ways to really find one, because that way both parties are happy, and then the problem is fully solved. So I hope these few tips can help you in and out of the workplace or in and out of the classroom with solving conflict, and especially with confronting people. Just remember not to be afraid of confrontation. One of the best companies are always solving conflicts and always dealing with confrontation, so it could be a beneficial thing, although it may be hard or fearful to deal with. Okay, thank you very much, and I hope this was helpful.